LeBron James has come to the defense of Caitlin Clark. And LeBron might be the foremost expert on being hated on as a basketball player. He was with JJ Redick on their Mind the Game podcast, and this is what LeBron had to say about Caitlin Clark.
The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch.
And he went on, he said, don't get it twisted or anything like that.
Caitlin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA. But for her individually, I don't think she should get involved on nothing that's being said. Just go have fun, enjoy, but I'm rooting for Caitlin because.
So you get the sentiment there from LeBron, who basically said he didn't understand why grown people would try to be tearing her down. And, LeBron James, and this is interesting because I think he is sort of the test subject for the 24/7 news cycle and the social media age. I remember when LeBron went to Miami in 2010 and the decision happened. And it was at that point, if you recall, he picked Miami, which a lot of people didn't like, understandably so. And he also alienated a bunch of fan bases, obviously New York, Chicago, big markets. He alienated them by not choosing their team. So you can understand why people would root against him for those reasons. It was also televised, and everybody made a big deal about that, it being the decision. Though I don't remember anybody saying televising the decision was a bad idea before it happened. I don't remember anybody going, oh, this is a terrible idea, I'm not going to watch. It was only after he didn't say what they wanted him to say. But it was actually later that I think things got really bad for LeBron in that sense, where he did the not one, not two, not three, not four, not five thing at the Heat pep rally. And that was when I realized, it was that moment in time, I realized anything you say anywhere can wind up everywhere. Because I really believe that was meant for the Heat fans in attendance, but that was at the advent of being able to spread things so quickly and widely, and all of a sudden it was everywhere, and people rooted against LeBron James. And people really, I think, rooted their sports identities into either rooting for LeBron James or rooting against LeBron James, and it became a cottage industry to discuss LeBron James every single day on every single show. LeBron was talked about. Then there was the Jordan chase. And once LeBron started being mentioned alongside Michael Jordan, a lot of people started hating on him because he was approaching that deity, that mythical figure that had been built up for so long. And it still goes on today. You post anything, I post anything about LeBron James, there are people like, LeBum, something record in the finals, hating. And that's something shared by Caitlin, hating. And, in a sense, it's a compliment. In a sense, it's a compliment because people already realize what a big deal she is, just like they know in their heart of hearts what a big deal LeBron James is. But I think it actually matters that he said what he said, because there has been some pushback on the idea that Caitlin Clark is the driving force behind the WNBA and the interest in women's basketball. And she's getting attention that is beyond what is due her way or out of proportion, which I've said over and over again is not the case. I am a huge proponent of the rest of the league getting shine. I am a huge proponent of women's basketball growing as a whole. And in order for that to happen, people have to watch other games outside of the Indiana Fever, obviously. Other stars have to be built up. I saw Cameron Brink's defensive highlights today, which is a good sign. I saw Camille Cardosa and Angel Reese, at the baseball game. That was a good sign. I mean, there are all these good signs. I've talked about the future, Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins, same names, but building the roster of stars and building the appeal outside of just Caitlin Clark. But as LeBron said, don't get it twisted. Caitlin Clark is the reason for this explosion. It's the same thing Dawn Staley said. So for all these people online or wherever they are who are mad about that and are in their feelings about that, are you going to argue with Dawn Staley, the head coach of the national champion South Carolina team that beat Caitlin Clark, who said Clark is the sole reason for this explosion? You're going to argue with her? Are you going to argue with LeBron James, who has been the central figure of NBA discourse and basketball discourse for more than a decade now, for 15, 20 years now. I mean, you can even go back further if you go to his high school days. And that is, I've said Caitlin Clark is the new Michael Jordan in some ways, in the sense that she is a generational figure that could change the sport going forward. And that remains apt. That remains true. She could have that Jordan-like impact. She gets the shoe deal. She gets the Wilson basketball deal. But in other ways, she is also the new LeBron James, where people are going to dissect and look to hate on everything that happens because for whatever reason, they have created a sports identity around seeing her fail. I saw Legion Hoops, I think the Legion Hoops account posted Caitlin's stats so far on the season. And you have all these people in the comments like clowning, and it's wild to me. Yeah, here's the post. Of course, the record is always brought up, which is just dumb. I don't remember anybody hating on Wemby for the Spurs record. The team that has the worst record in the league is generally not going to be good immediately. And you have people in the comment section, Anthony Bennett, there are a couple people defending her, but Angel Reese better talking about turnovers and everything. So you've got already these people who are just ready to jump on Caitlin for anything. And that's what LeBron was talking about. Grown people with no reason to have any animosity for her. Like Caitlin has brought no animosity upon herself by any of her own actions. It's simply a reaction to the fact that she's popular. And people, for whatever reason, some people don't like the fact that she's more popular than anyone else. But the fact of the matter is, she's more popular than anyone else. Like that, it just cannot be argued. It's a silly thing to even try and go back and forth over. So it coming from LeBron James means something, because people are going to dismiss it because they hate LeBron too. It's the same thing, right? That hate's going to go around and around and around, especially if you get the LeBron stamp of approval, there's going to be people that root against you just because of that. But LeBron James is, at worst, the second best basketball player of all time in the NBA. I think he's the best ever. We can have that debate at any point, but he's certainly been the most covered, the most discussed ever, beyond Michael Jordan, I think, because Michael Jordan didn't play in a time where we had all these outlets, where we had social media and everything like that. So LeBron does have that experience. And he referenced his son getting the hate, Bronny James getting the hate. Of course, Bronny is not the same level prospect relative to his sport that Caitlin is, but I understand that too, because Bronny James also had a cardiac arrest last summer, and no one's given that kid any grace just because of who his father is. And look, LeBron has said some stuff that probably hyped him up, but who cares? Move on. And, LeBron saying this is a stamp of approval from the king, to, I don't even want to say the queen, because, the male and female stuff doesn't need to be harped upon. But he is recognizing, real, as they say. And that was LeBron James to Caitlin Clark.